Hello, dear friend, and welcome. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson, and I am the owner and founder of the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. For over 7 years, we have been honored to bring you messages that inspire, uplift, and support your spiritual journey. These programs are made with love and made possible by you and your generosity. That's why over the next 90 days, we are aiming to raise $9,000 to carry this channel forward into the new year. Every gift, large or small, helps us continue producing, sharing, and reaching souls all around our world. So I invite you today to give as you are able, knowing that your support keeps these messages coming and available to all. Thank you for walking the journey with us, dear friend. Together we are making a difference. We are so grateful. Blessings on the journey, my dear friends. Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I'm the host. I'm here today in the new studio with the whole team today. It's going to be a great, great day. Welcome to the show, and we love having you along the journey with us. Today we, of course, have in the studio with me my producer, Mr. Shawn Kilgore. Come on in, Shawn.
Hello, friends. As you can see, we're having some fun already here this morning. So welcome in. This is episode 419 of Experience of the Soul, where we are meeting the Experience of the Soul team. We're so happy to have Micah here with us today, joining us. We're going to talk all about our individual journeys and how we came together to sort of create where we're heading with the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. So Before we get into that, we want you to know we're so glad you're here. Thank you for joining us today. Since we are always welcoming new listeners, we're stepping into a bit of a new chapter ourselves, even with the new studio and all of that. So we thought we'd take a whole episode to sort of reintroduce ourselves and let you get to know us a little bit better. So, but first, as always, we're going to take a look at what's happening this week in spiritual history, where we are reminded that sometimes the things that connect us matter far more than the things that divide us.
Amen. Mm-hmm. Say that one again.
Yeah,
brother.
The things that connect us matter far more than the things that divide us. So Wednesday, July 1st, our neighbors to the north celebrate Canada Day, marking the formation of the Canadian Confederation in 1867. So it's a day of celebration, community gatherings, music, reflection, and reflection on national identity. So to all of our Canadian listeners and all of our Canadian friends, happy Canada Day.
Beautiful. Sending love to our Canadian friends and listeners. A lot of friends in Canada, and I've traveled there many times. Have you ever been up there?
I have. I went in high school. I went to see Phantom of the Opera in Toronto. That was my
Toronto is such an awesome,
trip.
Awesome city. Yeah,
it was a great time. I went with my best friend, childhood best friend. We had a great time. So then, of course, this Saturday, July 4th, is Independence Day here in the United States, and this year marks America's 250th birthday. So most of us think of fireworks and cookouts, but underneath all of these celebrations is a deeper question, really, about freedom itself. Not just political freedom, but the freedom to live with integrity, purpose, and compassion, no matter who you are. The freedom to live with integrity,
Amen.
Compassion, and purpose, no matter who you are.
Yes. So true. And Shawn, I only want to pause and say here that I do see people waking up every day to our shared humanity. And I know that we don't see a lot of that in the headlines, but I do see it person to person. And I just want to affirm that for us that most of us do know our connection. I think we get triggered online and we even like stuff that maybe we don't even really agree with, but maybe at first glance we do.
Yeah.
And so I just want to lift that up, that so many of our listeners and friends and people that I'm in community with, whether it's when I'm shopping or whether I'm at my new gym, working out and, working out with people from all different walks of life. And I don't care who they voted for, but what I know is they're a human being. They are kind. They are generous. So I just want to lift that up because I think there is way more of that than we ever see reported on.
Yeah, of course, because they don't want to report on that because then that brings us together.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
So I thought that was a real positive or powerful reminder for us all right now as America gets ready to celebrate this 250th. That really, I mean, we really need to sort of get a grasp on what we're doing
on
here.
reality. Yeah.
Well, when you strip it all away and you just know people as people, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
And
exactly.
you know, even recently we had Josh and Remy over.
Yeah.
They were saying the same thing.
Yes, they were. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of community, of course, we're in the heart of summer right now. So this is a season of gatherings and celebrations, special service projects. I know a lot of churches are doing special outreach for summertime, community events across many traditions and cultures. So what stands out about all of this is how often connection becomes the common thread. Sometimes a simple act of kindness or sitting down for a shared meal or just having a good laugh together like we just did, that really that stuff can really nourish the soul in a lot of the same ways or sometimes even more than what our more like formal spiritual work can do sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Having that time of togetherness, and I think is a really beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then our Just for Fun this week is International Joke Day. This is Wednesday, July 1st also. So here's one. What do you call a fake noodle?
What, Shawn?
An impasta.
Oh.
I got one more. Why did the meditation teacher get kicked off the airplane?
He said to let go of your baggage?
Have you heard that one before?
It just makes sense.
That would be a good one.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, man.
Sorry,
I broke it.
Got another one? Any more?
No, that's
Any
all I
more?
had.
Oh,
That's all I
man.
had. You got one?
No.
Any good dad jokes? Mom jokes?
I'm sure I do, but not on the spot.
Okay.
Not ones that are
Well,
for there.
if you think of it in the next half hour, you can just get it out there.
But is there a specific day, though? You said it's National
It's
Joke
Wednesday.
Day.
So
It is.
Wednesday, July 1st is International Joke Day. So
Ah.
all over the world, people will be telling those jokes.
Well, and, like you say, it's good to tell jokes, but honestly, there's some things we don't touch joke-wise because it's inappropriate.
Yes.
I think culturally, some folks have lost sight of that, but we have not.
Yeah, well, not every joke is funny. We all know that. But the ability to laugh at ourselves and not take life quite so seriously feels a little more like wisdom than than jokes. But,
Like my height, for instance.
oh, who would ever make fun of that? That doesn't seem right.
I remember you said
I'm
that.
guessing it was me. All right. All right, friends, your journal prompt for this week. Where might noticing a little more joy make a difference in your life? Where might noticing a little more joy make a difference in your life?
Good one, Shawn.
Yeah. And with that, we are into this week's episode. Once again, it's episode 419, where we are having a conversation with RCA, Micah, and me, Shawn. And we're meeting the Experience of the Soul team. So
Yeah. So, friends, this is a great day. It's fun for me to introduce the team because, there's been such a evolvement of the staff and the show itself. Of course, I'm the constant as the owner and founder, but every person that's been a part of the show from the beginning has been a very special individual. And so even before each of us says much about our journey, I want to acknowledge all the people gone before, and especially Dave as the producer. I mean, without Dave, I probably would not have had the courage to begin. And then you came on at show 300, and that's been a beautiful journey together. And now bringing Micah in as a part of the team, because the position that Micah plays is, there's a professional position she plays, and then she plays an important part as my partner and my life partner. But before, that professional piece was just done by kind of different people. Shannon did it at the very beginning and did a great job. Shannon Croft of Shannon and Dave, and then they got so busy that they had to focus on their work, and I love that and bless that. So the good news is we're still in contact, and they're very supportive. But it means the world to me to have Micah as a part of it and you as my dear friend, as the producer.
Well, it means the world to me to be a part of it. I was a longtime listener before I ever took over. And I know I was, when I took over for Dave, I felt like, man, these are big shoes to fill. I always looked up to Dave. I mean, I worked with him, on the outside too. He was my music director for a long time.
Oh, right. For the show. You and Natalie did. Yeah.
And so I tried to really honor the work that he had done. But I really appreciate that you've allowed me to sort of grow into it as well and to bring my own, sort of creativity to it. And
right now you have your own segment.
Yeah.
I mean, that was never a part of it before.
Yeah, which is, I love it. And I absolutely love researching that stuff and, and bringing it to the show. So
yeah. And so now bringing Micah in. Micah, you want to talk about what you do for the show professionally?
Yeah, so I get to do all of the graphics for the show, which is really fun.
Yeah, so if you're watching on YouTube, the images that you see behind me and any images that you see that we put out for classes or anything like that, Micah does all of that design work. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background in graphic design, though, and what you do?
Yeah, sure.
And how you got into all that?
Yeah, so I went to school for graphic design at UCF, and I got specialization in graphic design, BFA. And then I hit an internship that I consider very lucky with Scholastic Books. And from there, they hired me on, and I went up to New York and worked in New York for years at Scholastic. I was with Scholastic for a long time.
That's so cool.
Yeah, originally I wanted to do advertising and marketing, but I felt really happy that I ended up in children's publishing because it felt better in my soul to help kids read, make really cool books that are fun and beautiful that make kids want to pick up the book and learn to read versus selling people things based on their fears and insecurities.
Yeah.
I know. I remember that was what you said.
That's beautiful.
It
That's
is.
actually a beautiful statement. I remember being in school and getting Scholastic books. I mean, going to the book fair.
Yeah, I worked in the book fair portion too. So we did the posters and the stationery.
I know that.
Yeah. It was
That
really
is so
fun.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. We did a lot of Book Plus stuff. So it was a really, really small team. It was a small imprint. And so I had a lot of input in coming up with ideas, which was fun. And I got to do, I came up with one book idea that ended up on the New York Times bestsellers list. So that's why they hired me after that. Yeah.
Amazing.
So,
That is amazing. Well, a lot of your covers now are,
Yeah.
I saw her working on a design, and then the next day I turn on the TV, and it's like, there's your book on Good Morning America. She goes, yeah. So that was cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm super honored to be working on your website and working on your stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you for asking me to
thank
do
you.
it.
It's been a long time coming because I haven't updated my portfolio in forever.
You're too busy doing the actual work, though.
Yeah.
But after Scholastic, when did you get to Abrams?
Well, I moved up to New York and worked with Scholastic for quite a while, and then ended up going contract work and working for Simon & Schuster, and then I worked with Canopy Books, and publishing is a really small industry. Once you get into it, you see the same people, you meet the same people across publishing houses. And then I was doing freelance work. I moved down to Florida in 2015. I got to miss all of the COVID stuff happening up in New York City. Thank God for that. Yeah. And I was working remotely, fully remote, and I was doing contract work with Abrams, and then they hired me on.
Oh,
and
right. I forgot that.
Now I'm an art director for Abrams, and I oversee their young adult and middle grade books, and also just got an adult commercial fiction line, which is really cool. Yeah. So doing a lot of work.
It's beautiful. So we are obviously super blessed friends to have Micah creating these beautiful images for us and for the show.
Oh, absolutely true. Well, and people hear a little more about our spiritual journey, Shawn. Certainly about me. That's, the way I teach spiritual principle is how I practice. So that's why I was excited about today for our listeners to get to know you guys and your journey a little bit. And the thing I want to mention, we can come back to it, is that, Micah actually began her spiritual journey in Unity, right? And
as a little kid.
As a little kid. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always wonder how different life would have been if Unity was where I was raised.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's so, your kids are so lucky.
They are. Yes.
Josh is so lucky.
In many
yes.
ways.
Yes.
I mean, it's just reflected in the kind of person he is, and your boys are too. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. The hearts of the kids when they don't get told they're evil and they're
Right.
sinful. I mean, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, my mom was always pretty open about my spiritual path being my own. And so I did grow up in unity as a young kid. And then, you know, I tried out a bunch of different churches with my friends. And I always felt a little out of place because I didn't like that element where I felt like, you know, as an outsider because of all the things I didn't do right or, you know.
The judgment.
Yeah, the judgment. So, and then as I got older, I just, studying art history, I found a lot of religion in art history and a lot of spirituality in art history because of, all of the different time periods. I studied art history of Mesoamerica, of India, and so I learned a lot about the different spiritualities through that as well.
Wow.
Yeah. And then actually, when I was working in at Scholastic book fairs, we have these book bins because a lot of people will pitch books and pitch ideas. And what doesn't get picked up goes in these free book bins. And so I was looking and I found this Kabbalah book, and it was called Life Rules. And it was for teenagers at the time. I was in my early 20s. And I read that book, and I think that was really a life-changing book for me because of the content and the way that it was presented was so very practical, kind of like what I think this podcast does, what you guys do. It's really logical life ways to implement spirituality, you know. And,
Yeah, that's cool.
Not a dogma to follow.
Yeah. And I think with that book was the first time I expanded outside of myself in my early 20s to realize, you know, hey, the world doesn't revolve around me. You know, other people's reactions are based on their own experiences, not a reflection of who I am. And I think that was a huge shift in my life, in the way that I lived life going forward from there.
Wow. Beautiful.
Well, and so for our listeners who don't know what Kabbalah is, maybe you could provide some education.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm equipped to do that, really. I feel like it's just like baseline. So Kabbalah, let's see. I guess it's based in Jewish mysticism. Is what how I would explain it. And there are so many different components. I don't even...
Right. Well, I think to say Jewish mysticism is plenty. But, you know, if you grew up a Baptist or Catholic, I mean, what's Kabbalah?
Yeah.
Right, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, it got really popular when Madonna was
just
doing
gonna
Kabbalah.
say, wasn't Madonna
Yeah.
was, yeah.
As a matter of fact, when I lived in New York, I went to the Kabbalah Center up there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was cool because there were a lot of really wealthy, famous people that go there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I got to go to Donna Karen's studio. She was doing some work for the foundation.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So when you started doing graphic design and you were working for those companies, were you in an office at that point, or were you still,
I
was it still
was.
kind of a remote? So do you miss that aspect of it?
Very much. Yeah, I do. I've been doing it so long. A lot of people went fully remote during COVID. You know, it was a huge shift of work-life balance and going remote, hybrid, you know, that kind of thing. Offices have changed in a major way since then. But I've been remote since, I want to say, like 2012, 2014. And
Before it was...
before it was cool.
Right.
Yeah. I miss interacting with people.
Me too.
I do.
Miss being sometimes. And then sometimes I'm really happy to just go upstairs.
I was going to say, well, you and I have plenty of interaction.
Yeah.
No more texts or emails from RCA. Yeah. Well, that is beautiful. So, Shawn, you know, we've talked just bits and pieces about your journey a little bit, and we've, you know, laughed many times about us both being in the Kids Praise musical as kids, not realizing it till we'd known each other for years. But what was the church you grew up in? You've shared it, but it's been a while.
Lutheran,
yeah.
Holy Trinity Lutheran Church.
Yeah.
That's where I went, in Brunswick, Ohio. Yeah, and so that was... I enjoyed those aspects of it. That I always
community,
the community, the singing, and I played my trumpet in church a lot, and I did a lot of I forget what they called them, but they weren't altar boys in Lutheran, but
like acolytes.
Yes, yeah, where light the candles and all of that, and and then as I became older and started discovering kind of who I was, and then learning what they thought about who I was, I felt like, how could this all just abandon me because of this one thing? And then I had no relationship with God, or I guess I did, or with the church. Yeah, that's a better way to say it, with the church, because I always felt in my heart that God didn't want to abandon me because I was gay. That
oh, you're right,
or that
ridiculous.
I was going to hell, or that I was a horrible human being. So it took me a while to find the right path, or to find a community. And so once I moved to Orlando, it all happened because of because of a gig. It was this woman, Kate O'Neill, who was a good friend, and invited me to come sing a duet with her at Christ Church Unity in Orlando.
Oh, wow.
That's where we met.
Yeah. And that first day, I remember like sitting and listening to the message and just like bawling because I thought I finally found something where I feel okay, like I'm okay.
Yes. So healing, right?
Yeah, big time.
She has that effect on people.
Big time. Yeah. I see people in church who are just, and you just don't know what's going on with them. I had a roommate at the time. Her name's Sarah, and so her and I would come, and she was the same way. Like we would sit there in church during the message and just.
Sarah, she's an incredible actress too.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's in Chicago working through Second City and IO and all those improv companies. So she's doing great. But yeah, so finding you, finding unity, finding a place where I felt like I belonged and where I fit in and where I could actually continue to go down my spiritual journey, or
have a path at all.
Yes, I have a path at all. Was such a beautiful awakening moment, and I never looked back. I tried to stay in it as much as possible, and followed her around. I'm like, okay, where are we going next? Okay, Tampa. All right, let's go to Tampa.
Okay,
all right, we're doing Sunday night church. All right, let's go do Sunday night church. Where are we going next? Daytona. All right, let's go to Daytona.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Podcast. I'm there.
Yeah. Yep. Totally on board. 100%. Yep. 100%.
Yeah. So important. Well,
so grateful.
Well, as you were talking, there's a musician I followed for many years, Krishna Das, and his path is really Hinduism. But one of the things he says is, I'm just amazed that there is a spiritual journey and I just might be on it. And, I think what we've all been describing is a journey, and I think the quote unquote traditional church doesn't know what it's missing. I would not be welcome as a gay pastor, in other places. And I don't even say that word even to describe myself very much, because I'm just a minister. I'm just a pastor who happens to be gay. Like, I just can't imagine putting people in such limiting boxes because of this one fact of their life, like you said. So I just minister to everybody, and it just so happens because so many gay people have been so judged so harshly that they find their way to me somehow. But, I have many men, as I love to say, my white straight men, many over 70, many over 80, that come to me and say the very same thing you're saying. And so what I know is that kind of clamped down dogma makes room for very few of us. And it's very, very limiting. I will tell you, I have spoken with like leaders in those churches, some family members, some that seek me out from other denominations that I've had in counseling that say, I don't believe this, but if I come out and say something different, I will lose my job. You know what I mean? So even the leaders themselves don't feel there's room for them. So, I feel like the modern church is trying to find its way. But along the way, we have to figure out what we need. We have to follow our own heart and our own, spiritual journey. And I just know for myself, I've never felt more connected to God than I do now. And I spent my life in the church in service and doing and helping and going. And I mean, from soup kitchens to, serving mission work in Brazil. Yeah. And those were some amazing experiences. But my connection to God really came more and more as I left any dogma that was still kind of residing. It was really like a residual, I feel like, dogma. Like, well, is this, the more I release that, the more the real and true connection can come forward.
I love what you said in a previous episode, not that long ago, where you said, I don't want to give you a dogma. I want to shine a light on the path.
Yes.
And let you find it yourself.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what you've done for me, and I know for countless others for many, well, for your entire career, but for me, what has it been? That was 2010, so 16 years now.
Well, someone just told me today, I got a really beautiful text from one of our listeners. She said, in your show, you just said, why don't you try different meditation groups, like just see what's around. And somebody who very much needs the support, who doesn't live locally, cannot come to church, but they watch online, they listen to the podcast. So like they are our community for sure. But it's going to support her journey so much because she just found a place 35 minutes from her home and she has to get care for her husband to leave. But this is going to be a respite for her. She said, I did exactly what you said. And guess what? I found a meditation group and I'm so excited. Beautiful. So, I don't have fear about that. I want her to get the right support. You don't have to get it through me. Just get it. Yeah. It's a big universe. Try different things, try a meditation group. Try a different church. See what your soul is really needing because, at some points, along the journey, I feel like we do need, give me something to believe, okay? Like, I don't know what's what. Give me something to believe. And then we say, you know what? This belief something's not right. And that's how we start to grow and mature, right? And so at different times, you might need something a little more sure. I know people who have, I have a dear friend, I mentioned him on the show, who started out Mormon, went a Buddhist to nothing, and now he's back at the Mormon church. A very different way of looking at it now, but this is where his soul feels supported. So, I mean, who am I to say no? So it is really, truly a journey. But I love that we just heard from a listener who said, listen, I am trying this. And as it turns out, exactly what I need is 35 minutes from door to door, I can get there. And not only is it a meditation teacher, it's somebody who's written books, who has a real, true meditation teaching, and it's really going to bless her journey. So what a blessing. Yeah.
I think it goes back to what we were talking about with connection,
I agree.
It doesn't matter where you find your spirituality, your path, and for anybody, as long as you're living in that truth for yourself,
Absolutely true. One, we talked a little bit about, the Kabbalah and growing up in unity. And then you've also done, I know, a lot of what I call psycho-spiritual work, a lot of psychological work. And I think that's another place you and I connected as well, is that we understand, emotional intelligence. And anything you want to say about your teachers? I know you've had some really powerful teachers.
Yeah. Jake Eagle and Hannah Eagle. They've been wonderful mentors and teachers. I've gone to a couple retreats, I believe, with them, and I do calls with them occasionally with the group. It's called Live Conscious. I think they're going through a shift in how they're approaching things right now, but a lot of what they teach is about how reality isn't a static thing. It's a thing that we create based on our own perceptions. And at the beginning, they were talking a lot about how your consciousness and where you live in your consciousness will also affect your perceptions of reality. If I'm in my heart consciousness, then I'm much more open to receive. I'm more curious and lighthearted, where if I'm in this lower vibrational consciousness of like safety and, what everyone calls lizard brain, then I'm more defensive and reactive, so that's where I think meditation for me is really important to keep myself. I mean, I think all of them can be useful. I mean, we have our reptilian brains for a purpose. We have that lower,
absolutely.
We get to pay bills. We have to show up at a certain time and live life in society.
Mm-hmm.
But, our choice in how we do that is really a choice, exactly that,
Mm-hmm.
how we show up.
Well, and I wanted to mention Jake and Hannah because I know how instrumental they've been on your journey, and I'd love to have them on the show. I think it'd really be great to bring them on. I think they have a really powerful perspective, and I think it's so important to honor our teachers, along the journey, because I know, we did 2 shows in honor of Jane Elizabeth, and what do I want to say about it? It just, her impact on my journey could not be overstated. And I think that's probably true for you with
Absolutely.
Jake and Hannah.
Yeah, I found them through a podcast, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It was the guy's name was Matt Belair. I don't even know if he's still on the air anymore, but he does really in-depth, deep spiritual podcasts as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he had Jake on, and the way that Jake was talking, I really resonated with, because again, it's a very logical way for me to apply spirituality to my life and live in that way. So when I found him, I was going through a really big time, a transitional time in my life,
yeah.
And he supported me, or I supported myself really well with his teaching at that time, So yeah, he's fantastic. He's written a few books. One of them's called Being Weird or something. I can't remember exact titles. It's horrible.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
And then I think The Power of Awe, AWE.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was another. He tried to figure out microdosing meditations. So in each moment, how you could bring awe to your daily tasks.
I love that.
And we've talked about this before, when I pour my milk into my coffee and I watch it all swirl, it's just a moment of, ooh, that's really pretty. When I crack my eggs and they bubble in the pan, I like to watch that. My visual brain. Or even just, having sensory experiences with my feet in the sand and slowing down enough to really be in those moments and realize how magical they are. Looking up at the stars and thinking about how expansive the universe really is, and taking in the awe of that moment.
So true.
And in many, many moments throughout your day, I can circle back to those.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
And I think that's all really what the journey is. When you move past dogma, you realize, okay, well, what is it about, rather than me saying, I believe this and you believe that. Okay, what's next? Because I got that. What's next?
Yeah.
Okay, so
where do we go from there?
Where do we go from there? Yeah, how do I live every single day in the world? I have a dear friend, Reverend John McLean. He used to say, if your spirituality doesn't work in the line at Walmart, I don't want to know about it. Because I need something to bring me sanity and hope and peace in every single moment, because the world, and everything that is grabbing for our attention right now, there's so much insanity that bring me sanity. And it's really that. It's about coming back to the moment, finding peace in ourselves, connecting with God, on the regular, and realizing we're a part of that.
Yeah.
And then living that in the world in a more and more, meaningful, intentional, and powerful way. I mean, that's the journey, that's the journey as I see it. So it is just about every single moment choosing God, choosing that higher vibrational reality, rather than I'm right and you're wrong. Because after that, there's no curiosity, there's no discussion. Right? But if I can be in the moment, even if you're different from me, I'm going to go, I wonder how they got there. That is really interesting. Where am I in this? Instead of judging everybody, I come back to myself and say, what does this have to do with me and my journey? Where am I in this? And then, well, there's my spiritual work. That's what we call the soul work, So I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Everything.
And so many people, I think, what you're talking about after, where do you go? Okay, this is what I believe. Where do you go?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people land on the question, what's my purpose in life?
Right.
And to me, my purpose in life is showing up.
Yes.
And I don't think that we could even understand the tiny moments where we connect with other people and the difference we might make in line at Walmart.
Right.
And I see Cynthia Alice does this all the time. Wherever we go, she makes a friend. It's like she's kind to everyone. And it's funny because by the end of we were at CVS the other day, and I was like about to go to the self-checkout thing, and she's like, no, we're going to a line. So we get in line, we go up to the cashier, and he's super friendly asking about what we're purchasing, whatever. And we get into a conversation. By the end, he's like, have a blessed day. And I'm like, wow, I never hear that when I'm in line anywhere. Maybe I need to be friendlier.
You're like, self-checkout, I'm out.
I'm
the
out.
self-checkout never says that to me.
I know.
Imagine computers.
Age verification.
Yes. The red light starts flashing. Assistance is on the way.
Oh, yeah. Glad I saved time by doing self-checkout.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this was fun. We should do it again.
Yeah, I think we should. We should. This has been fun. And, I'm glad you lifted up Micah for all of her beautiful designs. And, of course, all the sounds you hear, all the recordings you see, all the social media stuff. Shawn, you didn't talk much about what you do for the show. So before we end, I want you to talk a little bit more about what you do. Everybody knows what I do because they hear me all the time. I don't have to talk about it. Oh, boy.
And so I'm blessed and honored to support this show by being the producer for the podcast. So I will take all this stuff that we do here today, and I will take it back and edit it, clean it up, and get it ready for you to listen to it. And then I take that and then I break that up and give you your social media clips each week, and basically support Cynthia in any other way that I possibly can. We do the affirmations, so I edit those and get those ready for you, and the
website too.
The website updates and management of that. That's something I took over from Shannon, so filling her shoes there, but getting to sort of put my spin on it, and we're partnering with you on that. So it's really a great job, and I am super. I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity, and that this is my job. It's just a joy.
Yes. Well, I also want to mention, though, the reason you're doing this is your trust of the process and your spiritual journey, because you had a great job with great benefits and all those things. Yes. And, you really felt guided elsewhere. And I feel like we do have a real synergy. And I think as the show has grown and developed, it's not a surprise we're all three sitting here. It's like divine order brought us together. And I'm sure there'll be other changes in the future, but I just so trust consciousness to lead us here. And the designs themselves speak to what I've been talking about for years. And now, rather than a design looking like something and the show looking like something else, everything is what my dear friend Robert White calls coherent consciousness. And it's because my clarity has increased over the years, too. So anyway, my friends, it's been a joy to bring you the team. Happy you got to know a little bit more about Shawn and Micah. And my friends, we are always honored that you join us for every show. And if there's more you want to know, if we can answer any questions you have, and if you have spiritual questions that I'm really not addressing yet, please feel free to reach out and let us know, because our goal is to support your journey, to lift you up, to provide you with resources. And if you do like what I mentioned earlier, where one of our listeners said, I did exactly what you said, and I found a meditation group that's really going to lift me up, let me know. It makes my day to know that you're moving forward on the journey in a powerful way to get the right help and support so that you can get through life's journey. I want you to feel supported. I'm honored to be a part of that, and also know there are many other people that can support your journey as well, and I want you to get the support and the help you need. So my friends, thank you for joining us today. As always, we're lifting you in prayer for God's highest and best, and blessings on the journey.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Experience of the Soul with Cynthia Alice Anderson. If this message resonated with you, we invite you to share it with someone who might need it today. This show is made possible by listeners like you, and we're grateful for the community that helps keep these conversations available to all. You can learn more or contribute to the show at cynthiaaliceanderson.com/donate. Produced by Kilgore Creative and a production of the Soulworks Group Incorporated. Until next time, take good care.